Hello everyone and welcome to this latest call centre help video. I'm delighted to be joined by Vinay Parmar, and together we're going to be looking at the latest findings from the 2024 call centre helper research report, specifically around getting maximum value for money when looking to improve the customer experience. So Vinay, any surprise to see self-service ranked so highly here?
No, I think it's pretty predictable. I think that, look, human beings, we are inherently lazy. I'll put it as that, saying it that way. We will look for the path of least resistance. I think we actually prefer to be able to do stuff ourselves if it's designed well and we can navigate it well. So nobody really wants to call a contact center and be on the phone for hours when you can do something quick. So I think self-service works for customers, and I think internally, obviously, self-service translates into less resource needed to handle stuff, so that from a financial perspective, at least it delivers value in terms of reduced cost base.
And are there any drawbacks to this approach for people to be aware of?
Yeah, I think there is a cautionary tale in here. And you hear the usual things about we'll just automate low-level transactional stuff and we'll make that really easy for customers. And in isolation, they all make perfect sense and logical sense on paper. I think you've got to look at the bigger picture. And I think sometimes what looks like low-level transaction in isolation could be the beginning of something that's quite high value. And I'll share a quick example with you, if I may. So I was working at a bank a few years ago. We had the standard problem of too many calls, not enough agents, and you were getting poor service levels in between. So the answer is you either recruit more to create more capacity or reduce the number of calls. The recruitment challenge wasn't really working because we were a large employer in the area and we'd saturated the market. We didn't want to outsource because of the brand reputation and just didn't want to really go down that avenue at that time. So then the next option was to look at why customers are calling. We saw a core reason which was taking up a lot of capacity, which was a balance inquiry. This was for a credit card company. And on paper, logical sense said, well, if you automate that and make it easy for customers to get it, you reduce your call, you'll increase capability for something else to come in by reducing that call category. And in isolation, total logical sense. But when we dug under the surface as to why so many customers were calling for their balance, given they could get it via a text message or via the website, what we discovered was that 80% of the people calling for their balance didn't actually want their balance. What they were looking to do was to transfer their balance out to a competitor. And so what that meant was, if we'd have automated it, yes, we would have won in the short term for the reduction in cost or the increase in capacity, but we would have lost that long term because we lost those customers we fought so hard to acquire in the first place, because they silently would have been able to move to a competitor without any intervention. And so the cautionary tale is having that zoom out to say, well, actually, what is the customer trying to do? What's the broader value here? Segmenting more by customer behavior rather than your classic demographics of age, social profile, all those kind of things, and understanding what customers are trying to do, and really just doing it with your eyes open, because you don't want an unintended consequence of doing something automated and then losing out in the long term. So yeah, just having that kind of broader view of the value chain and where the opportunities are. And of course, when you automate online and you do self-service, those opportunities to upsell and cross-sell are not as effective necessarily with web pop-ups and all these kind of things. Sometimes a conversation with a human who can listen in and make the right offer at the right time can also generate additional revenue. So again, depends on your goals, but I think that broader value chain view is really important.
It sounds like it's all coming down to understanding the wider customer journey and what works for your customers to
Yeah,
get the
yeah,
most value out of it.
absolutely. Like, all good design starts with thinking about the customer and thinking about your customers, the different segments, the different things they're trying to do. For some customers, it will be a smooth self-service journey and they'll fly straight through and it'll be absolutely fine. But you'll have other segments of customers that might need help or might be bigger opportunities that you might just want to give a bit more consideration to, in terms of what you're gaining by self-service, but what you could be ultimately losing out by them not having a conversation